Good morning. Let's take a moment to join together with each other and with the truth of our being, just a few minutes in the stillness. Mighty, masterful presence that I am. That I am that activates and energizes and is the life force of each and every one of us. That divine creative power that we invoke every time we say, I am. And with that in mind, we offer unto you these thoughts. I am pure. I am holy. I am innocent. I am free. I am forgiven. I am loved. I am sacred. I am precious. I am the perfect expression of the divinity embodied in love. I am. Thank you. There's a concept in the world of spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding, spiritual seeking. That concept is a bugaboo for a lot of us, and it's called the ego. And depending upon which body of teaching you're looking at, there is a wealth of misinformation available to us about what the ego is and how to deal with it. Some will tell us that we have to crush it, that we have to kill it, that we have to overcome it. Others will say that we have to acknowledge it and honor it and love it, because that's the only way we can heal it. Which leads one to the belief or conclusion, I guess, that it is something that requires healing. So it can all be very complex. But I am trusting the Spirit is going to give us some guidance on this today to help us come to a more realistic understanding of what ego is all about, how to coexist with it peacefully, lovingly, and joyfully. All right, I'm ready, and we'll get into all of that just as soon as we get back from our chant. Well, if you're familiar with the gospel accounts that I don't want to get involved in all the, is it true, is it not true, is it a myth, is it a fact, all of that stuff. Just taking the gospel accounts as a body of information to work with. If we're familiar with it, you'll remember the story of John the Baptist and Jesus, that they were cousins, actually. And Elizabeth, John's mother, became great with child 6 months before Mary did. So there was a 6 months difference in age between the two men, and John was designated as the harbinger, as that one who was preparing the way for the second one. So in their adulthood, at the age of roughly, I'm going to guess, but roughly 28, John the Baptist hits the scene. And with incredible turmoil, because he was just ever so different than all the other people who were running around claiming to be prophets. John actually had some force and power behind what he was teaching. He set himself up at the River Jordan to baptize, and the people came. All kinds of people came. As you read the account in, if I remember correctly, Matthew, John's message was one of live a better life. Conduct yourself more appropriately with reference to your fellow man. So the tax collectors came to him and said, what should we do? And he'd say, collect your taxes fairly, keep accurate accounts, don't take advantage of anybody. The soldiers would come and they'd say, what should we do? And he would give them instructions on how to be effective, honorable, good people, as soldiers. So basically, John's message was, this is how you be a good person in 3D, in the world, in the flesh. So John was a very elevated aspect of the ego. In Luke, Yeshua was speaking to his disciples about John. In that passage, he said to them, among them that are born of women, there has not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than John. So John was the ego that we want to develop into. We don't want to stop there, but we want to develop into that. We want to go from being the tax collectors and the publicans and the soldiers and the what have yous, the thieves and everybody else that came to John. All of those aspects have existed in us, in our egos, from the time that we were born. Our work as humans, and this is an important distinction, our work as humans is to raise ourselves to the point of being that John, that one who does the honorable thing always, that one who teaches others how to lift themselves up and to be better humans. But in the Gospel of John, there's a very interesting thing that happens, because you'll remember that before he began his ministry, Jesus came to the Jordan to be baptized by John. And then Jesus went out and began his own ministry, and he started out basically doing the same thing John was doing, baptizing people in addition to his own teachings. Then John's disciples came to him and they said, hey, you remember that dude that was here a couple of weeks ago that you baptized and there was so much radiance and wonderful stuff happened as a result of that? Remember that guy? Well, guess what? He's now doing the same thing you're doing. He's baptizing people and he's teaching a different message than you're teaching. What's up with this? And John very carefully and lovingly explained to them, my purpose was to lay the groundwork. My purpose was to bring to people as much as possible from, in our terms, the lower vibrational frequencies of fear and greed and concern and struggle, and to lift them up into the higher frequencies of justice and mercy and taking care of your neighbor and being a good person and living a good life and honoring the idea of God and honoring other people. That was my purpose. But now the Christ is here. The Spirit of holiness is here in a way that we can see it, in a way that we can experience it, in a way that we can relate to it. It's always been here, but we've never had a way to get a hold of it. Now it is here. The Spirit of God in the flesh is walking the world before us. My work is done. I must decrease. He, the Christ idea, must increase. To one degree or another, all of us here have gotten a hold of this Christ idea. We may not call it that. We may call it the Buddha mind. We may call it any number of things. But whether we call it the Christ consciousness or the Buddha consciousness or the Atman or the Brahman or whatever any individual religious idea has labeled it, it's all the same thing. It is the ultimate divine consciousness out of which we are all brought forth. That is the Christ idea. That is the Buddha mind. That is the highest level that we can get a hold of in our intellect. Unfortunately, as human beings, we have a tendency to get hung up on the words. But the words are just there to give us the idea. So I kind of hope we can blow away some words here this morning and get to the essence of what's going on. In a body of teaching that I have recently come across, there is a very good explanation, or at least an explanation that makes sense to my mind, that gives me something I can get a hold of. Let's put it that way. It gives me something that I can get a hold of with reference to this whole thing with the ego. They say, take your two hands and put them together. Put the heels together, then put the fingertips together, and look at the space in between. The space in between, the emptiness, the nothingness in between is your soul, your higher self, the truth of who you really are. No ego, no additions or subtractions whatsoever, just pure divine essence, and what we are as a soul. Now, the ego has basically two components. It has a magnetic attraction component, and it has a magnetic repulsion component. Think about bar magnets. If you put them together one way, they stick together. And if you put them together the other way, they push each other apart. So the ego has these two components. And when we are conceived in the womb, again, I understand that there's a whole lot around that too. But just to get the idea in, when we are conceived in the womb, at the time of conception, the ego is immediately formed because the human being requires it. So I have my ego surrounding my true self or my soul. The right hand represents magnetic attraction aspect. This is the aspect of ego that wants. The aspect of ego that wants to grasp and to grab and to go after and to cling to and to hold on to. This is the ego that realizes it needs. Now, why is this part important to us? Well, what's the first thing that happens when a little baby comes out into the world after the cord is cut? We give it a good smack on the butt. It takes a breath and it starts to howl to the high heavens. And then it's given to mama, and it goes to mama's breast. It goes to the source of nourishment. So when it comes out, it gets a shock. And it goes from the comfort and the warmth of the womb to this cold, sterile environment with nasty people hanging it upside down and smacking it, and so it cries. And it experiences a sense of separation, a sense of emptiness. But when it attaches to the breast and it starts to receive the mother's milk, then it is soothed and it's comforted. Then it learns that when I have certain feelings and I have certain needs, I can get those needs met. So if we didn't have that aspect of the ego, we wouldn't be able to survive in the world. The other side is the magnetic repulsion side, and that's the side that pushes things away. That's the one that comes into play at 2 years old, right? No, no, no. That's the one that makes the decision, I don't like this, I don't want this, I don't care for this, I can't tolerate this. Now again, that is important because we have to learn what works for us and what doesn't. The challenge becomes when these two aspects, the magnetic attraction repulsion aspects, are not trained in how they should go, and they're just allowed to run wild. And we look into the world today, and we see people who are just completely what we call ego-driven. The ego drive to grasp and to keep and to hold and to maintain and to get, and the ego drive to cast aside and to put out and to get rid of, right? We see these things very active in the world today. Now, ideally, as we come into the world as little children, our parents are wise enough to teach us the correct way to utilize these drives in the world. As we grow and mature, it becomes our responsibility to teach those aspects of ourselves how to behave. Ultimately, they are there to serve. They are not there to be in control. They are not there to run our lives. And they are certainly not there so that we can run somebody else's life. I know exactly what you need to correct your life to make things better for you. And the hidden message under that is, you have to be different so that I can be comfortable. If we really think about it and study it and look at the way these two aspects of the ego work, we very soon see that unless it is trained and taught to be better, it is totally self-interested. What's going to make me feel better? How can I change you to make me feel better? How can I create something out there to make me feel better? To make me feel fulfilled? To make me feel complete? So the ego has this emptiness that it wants to be filled. And it's up to us to train our own egos. And the mind says, say what? I was tracking okay until you came up with that one. Well, fortunately, we are not alone. In the book, The Yeshua Code, which Yeshua delivered through James Twyman, he tells us, do not think that in your humanness you are able to purge the urge toward self-promotion. It may not reflect the truth in you, but the ego has always been a welcome guest in your home. You soon forget that it was invited to remain, but you did not have to extend its stay. You cannot purge it, but through grace it can be removed from you. This will occur only if you fully accept it and offer it the opening it desires. Integration rather than extinction. Then it leaves on its own, and you're able to see who you really are. The self you have remained, even while you dreamed of impossible worlds. So as we utilize the tools of prayer and meditation, our higher self steps in. The Christ self steps in and works with us to do this. So it's not like I've got these two competing aspects of myself that are terribly detrimental, and I have to figure out how to fix it. What I need to do, what Richard needs to do, is Richard needs to become aware of when his behavior is a function of ego drive. So Richard has to become aware, self-aware, of when his behavior is being driven by the need to have and to grasp and to get, or is being driven by the need to push away and to separate from and to be rid of. And for Richard, the push away, separate, get rid of is much more active. For other people I know, the get and cling and grasp is much more active. But my work, if you will, is to be self-aware and to realize when my activity is a function of ego drive. And that aspect I call the Richard part. And the Richard part needs to decrease, and the pure, holy self part needs to increase. So how do I make that happen? Again, of my own self, I can do nothing, right? The Father within does the work. So if I, Richard, sit down and start struggling with my mind and trying to figure out, okay, how can I do all of this? I'm destined for failure. But if I relax and release and go into the place of stillness to the best of my ability, and I allow that information from my higher self. I say, right hand, grasping, wanting, getting, relax, go take a nap, go watch TV, do something. Left hand, push away, get rid of, repel, go take a nap, relax, have a soda. And I'm going to sit there in the stillness and just be present with the emptiness and allow the emptiness to come in and to educate me. I'm going to use very much the same technique that we used in our joining process. I'm going to use the power of that I am statement to focus on what I know to be, to the best of my knowledge anyway, to the highest that I can get a hold of, I know to be the truth of my being. So in my meditation, I'm going to focus on I am innocent, I am pure, I am holy, I am loved, I am wanted, I am cherished, I am sacred, I am precious, I am the perfect expression of divine life embodied in love. So when John says, I must decrease, but he must increase, what we're saying is, I have to take my attention away from the Richard unit. I have to take my attention away from what it wants and what it needs, thinks it wants and thinks it needs and thinks it can't be without, or thinks it doesn't want, or thinks it is detrimental to it, things it wants to avoid. I need to take my attention away from those things. And I need to put my attention on that which is true to the best that I can understand it. There are other people who perhaps can grasp a much higher truth than what I'm capable of grasping. But I have to work where I am. If I'm in the 5th grade, I can't expect to do college level math. I have to work where I am. So I take the highest understanding that I can get, and I focus my attention on that. I must decrease. The ego has to settle. Ideally, we reach a point where the ego is in service to the higher self. Because we still get hungry, we need to go eat. We still, if the bear is coming out of the woods, have to have enough sense to climb a tree. So those aspects of the ego are important to us for human survival, but they are not important to us for the way we live and the way we experience ourselves and the way we express. For those, we look to the Christ aspect. We look to the Buddha mind. We look to the highest of our understanding and put our attention on that as often as we can. So let's take those ideas into our meditation. Welcome to this holy instant now. An instant to stop and remember. Remember who and what you truly are. Beyond the thoughts of fear, lack, and limitation. All that seems to limit you in this world is only an illusion that demands your continued belief and attention to have any power over you. Now is your opportunity to let go of whatever stands in the way of your complete awareness of your true and original self. Sit back with your spine upright, get comfortable, and take a deep, slow breath. And as you exhale, release both past and future. Release both memory and imagination, and become fully present in the now. The contemplation with which we begin our meditation is this: what is the Christ? Open your mind and your awareness now to the experience of the Christ. Allow these images to penetrate your consciousness. Christ is the essence of love, truth, and oneness with God. Christ is the part of you that is eternal, beyond the limitations of the physical world, and is inseparable from God. The Christ is the only and wholly true creation of God, as God Himself has authored it. Christ is the self we share, uniting us, one with another and with God as well. Christ is our true self, the aspect of ourself that has not left its heavenly home, nor lost the innocence in which He was created. Our Christ self abides forever as a perfect idea in the mind of God. It is the link that keeps us one with God and guarantees that separation is no more than an illusion of despair. In truth, Christ is the only part of you that has reality. The rest are dreams. Yet these dreams will be given unto Christ, to fade before His glory, and reveal your own holy self, the Christ, to you at last. Let us take just a minute or so to rest in what we have just considered. Take a deep, slow, and full breath in, and as you exhale, rest with this image in your mind. Allow your consciousness to unfold, to reveal to you the experience of the Christ within. The Christ is already who and what you are. To realize this requires only that we stop dreaming for a single moment. The Christ within us is always and already present, but it is obscured by egoic thoughts, fears, and illusions. Through the practice of forgiveness and awakening, we can come to that deeper realization of our true Christ self and experience a shift in perception that reveals our innate peace and enlightenment. Take one more deep, slow, and full breath in. And as you let it go, open your mind to take in the idea with which we practice today. A Course in Miracles asks us, what is the Word of God? And it answers, my creation is pure and holy as myself. And thus did God become the creator of the creation he loves, for thus it was created. This is the word you did not create with God, because in his word you were created. When we accept that we are created by God, all that we previously withheld from ourselves, every divine and perfect quality, is now given unto us. On the other hand, when we deny that we are created by God's love, we deny our true self to become unsure of who we are, of who our source is, and for what purpose we have come. Yet, we need but to acknowledge Him who gave His word to us in our creation, to remember our Creator, and to recall our true self. Infinite Creator, your word is mine. It is this that I would speak to all my brothers, all my sisters, and all of creation who are given me to cherish as my own, as I am loved and blessed and saved by you. The Word of God is the truth that makes us free. My creation is pure and holy as myself. In this, God declares His creation to be like Him, in spirit, in truth, in every quality. My creation is pure and holy as myself. You are that creation of which God speaks in His Word. It is you who are equal to God in holiness and in purity. But is this the way you think of yourself? Until you do, you will not know all the gifts that God has shared with you, all of the grace that forever surrounds you, all of the safety and protection and security that you could ever desire. All that is already yours, is contained in the Word of God, the Word that you are to embody, the Word that guides your perceptions, your thoughts, your actions, and your decisions. My creation is pure and holy as myself. Now, take another deep, slow, and full breath, integrating this understanding into all aspects of your thought system and your perception. As you exhale slowly, relax and release, and allow the integration to take place. Remember to bring this feeling, this awareness, and this idea with you into the rest of your day. What is the Word of God? My creation is pure and holy as myself. May you be at peace, residing within and as your true self. And as the music ends, very gently open your eyes. The light that I am surrounds me. The love that I am enfolds me. The power that I am protects me. The presence that I am watches over me. Wherever I am, love is. And so it is. Well, thank you so much for coming out to play again. I always appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, and until then, I love you, I bless you, and I behold the light that you are. Namaste.